It's been a bit of a slow news day if we're not talking about politics, if we're not just watching old Christmas movies and hanging out with your friends, but if there's actually something you want to talk about, well, might as well have a laugh.
Whoa!
So, what we're talking about today is going to be someone trying to set up for the Rey Skywalker plotline. And I know we probably all agree already, but I just want to get their little take and just have some fun with it. Let's have some fun. It's the Christmas season. Let's be jolly. This is definitely going to make me jolly. So there's this entire article by Liz Declan who says, in defense of Rey Palpatine, which most people, they're getting their garlic, they're getting their crucifixes right now just by me saying that, which I completely understand. But let's just go to see if this person even has a leg to stand on. So, their decision to reveal Rey as a descendant of Emperor Palpatine is arguably one of the most controversial choices in all of Star Wars. But now that it's 5 years later, surely we can look back on it with, some reminiscence. Maybe time has been kind to it. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. She says she doesn't hate it. Okay, good for you, girl. She does admit that it was a bit of a narrative disaster, and after the sequel trilogy changed hands 3 times, the overarching story was simply too disorganized to completely work. It never would have worked in the first place because they threw George Lucas's treatment of the script and the storyline out. Why won't you get it through your heads? Yes, they never had a plan. They kept changing hands between J.J. Abrams to Ryan Johnson to, I can't remember the other guy, Colin Trevorrow, and then back to J.J. Abrams. And Ryan Johnson effed it all up because they gave them complete control over it. We don't need to go into this any more than we have to because this is supposed to be funny. Maybe not funny, haha, but funny like shaking your damn head. Now, yes, we do know about how they kind of try to take the big baddie of the third story of the third movie and what would hopefully end it forever. They tried to make it Palpatine again. Somehow he returned. That's even in the dialogue. It was so, it was aware and yet retardedly unaware of itself all at the same time. Makes no sense. Just when people talk about AI dialogue nowadays, it really seems like AI dialogue that made up the script of this movie too. But she does go on to say there are now arguments on both sides, with the camp that believes Rey doesn't deserve the Skywalker name among the loudest. Nobody deserves the Skywalker name. Luke didn't choose the Skywalker name. Luke actually was the Skywalker. That's like calling yourself a Jenner or a Kardashian. It's like, well, were you born there? Were you born into that family? If you weren't, then like you could try all you want. You can get all the Botox, you can get all the butt injections, anything you want. You're still not going to be a Kardashian or a Jenner because you didn't come from the loins of those two parents that made those people. Good gracious, I don't see why this is even an argument. No, okay, so this is the one time, I think this is the one time that I have to give her a little bit of credence. She says, admittedly, my preference would have been the sequels remaining committed to the reveal that Rey was a nobody. Yes, that's what she always should have been. Although you could make arguments for Kylo telling her that because he knew the backstory and also the way that Snoke acted in the first movie. Or maybe it was the second one too. Who the freak even knows anymore? I haven't rewatched them in a long time. But yeah, she should have been a nobody. She should have been someone of extraordinary talent that came from nothing. That would have been a much better story and gone along with a hero's tale quite a bit more. But no, what you have to do, you had to introduce all these little plot lines and little secret things behind the back, which is why a lot of people are saying nowadays and have been for a while, Star Wars can only reference itself. It can't be anything new. It can't. It could, but they won't. And that's because of Disney. And I'm sorry for interrupting her thought process because this is the only time that I will agree with her. Most importantly, she says the idea that she was from nowhere, as Luke said, was the perfect reminder of Star Wars' original message that heroes and villains can come from anywhere. Yes, pretty much exactly what I said. This is the only time we're going to agree from everything that I've read with this girl. And there's no denying that the Palpatine twist undermined this to a large degree because they had to bring back member berries. It's the J.J. Abrams way. They even made the whole dadgum South Park episode and referencing J.J. Abrams in it. They also did one of the same things with Futurama. It was like, okay, put on a J.J. Abrams mask and like go reboot things. You remember this? You remember this? Okay, well, he'll put it out for you. But here's where she loses me. Instead, Rey became a figure whose path nearly exactly mirrored Luke's. Do tell. Explain. In absolutely no way did her path mirror Luke's. You've got to be kidding me. And if it does mirror Luke's, that means when this new movie comes out, if it ever comes out, I want her to be a hermit on an island and then die from some force fart in the wind. That's exactly what should happen to her if she's mirroring Luke's. You have no idea what you're talking about. And she goes even further to say, if I can't have the Rey Nobody storyline, you don't have to call her Nobody, but I kind of agree with the premise, a fact which I'm still not entirely over. Rey Palpatine is an acceptable consolation prize. No, it isn't. No, it's not at all. That should have never been in there. The fact that you're saying that it's a consolation prize, even though you don't agree with it whatsoever, it doesn't make sense. Canonically or in any other way possible, it doesn't make sense, means that you should be upset. You shouldn't be trying to defend it just because she's a girl. But she goes on to say that being a Palpatine still reinforces that original Star Wars message, perhaps even more. All right, get out your popcorn. That is, while Rey being a nobody proved that heroes can come from anywhere, Rey being a direct descendant of one of the most powerful Sith and most notorious villains and still choosing the light side of the Force is some of the best proof that in this galaxy, no matter their origins, anyone can become a hero. That's completely crap. That is a crappy way of looking at all this stuff. She goes on to say, importantly, I'm not trying to feed into the narrative that Rey isn't really a Skywalker and or doesn't deserve to be a Skywalker. She can't be a Skywalker. She's got Sheev's blood running through her veins. And then has the gall to say canonically Rey Skywalker is her name. There is no canon. Didn't you forget that, Disney? Disney Lucasfilm, didn't you forget that there is no canon anymore? You took the expanded universe, you completely decanonized it, yet you pilfer from it and try to sell your new videos with a bunch of horseshit attached to it as if it's now canon. There is no canonically with Disney Star Wars. There is no canon with that whatsoever. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. And Star Wars has a long history of characters either choosing their own names. Oh, we're going to go back to Solo. Solo lost money. We're going to go back to that. Han Solo. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have a conniption now. I understand what Raging Rhino and Ryan Kennel feel whenever they're talking about this. This is absolute horse shit and dog shit. And it's really just a way that people are trying to cope. But she even goes to say, in light of their complex family history, such as with Leia Organa, because when it was in the freaking prequels, it was in the George Lucas actual canon. The reason why Leia Organa, why her last name was Organa, because Senator Bail Organa fostered her. They basically adopted her because Padme was dying while she was giving birth. They had to separate the twins, therefore they could keep them secret because they knew they came from one of the most or would have been one of the most powerful Jedi to now the leader of the Sith, or at least the underling of the Sith. So they knew they had to separate them to keep them safe, and that's why she took that last surname. So don't get me started with this shit. And now I'm getting extremely angry when we're supposed to be laughing. My perspective, let's just go down to here because they felt the need to quote it and put it in its whole other thing. My perspective on Rey being a Palpatine is entirely separate from the discourse surrounding Rey's right to the Skywalker name. Good for you. I really appreciate that. But choosing to be a Skywalker instead of a Palpatine is so much more powerful. No, it's not. It's powerful in the same way when you've been holding up diarrhea for a long time. That's a powerful exit, which is exactly what the Star Wars franchise did. The Disney Star Wars franchise did. It made everyone love the originals and even the prequels more because this just took a giant dump all over the lore, all over the canon, all over storytelling in general. And I realize I'm going a bit long, which is okay. That there's nothing wrong with that. There's pretty much nothing else to talk about today. I could go for longer, but I do want to keep this a little bit shorter, a little bit sweeter. And I don't know. Everyone keeps asking for like multi rants. I was like, that's not even a rant. But I'm a little bit more hyped than usual. So if you have any comments on this, do you even think that, that new Rey movie is going to happen? I personally don't. I think they've announced it. They keep teasing it. They'll also keep pushing it back forever because there will not be anybody that has any hype for it. But that's just me. If you like what you see, if you just want to argue down in the comment section, please sub to the channel. It's free. It costs you nothing. Like, share, talk your shit. You won't get hit here. Multi from the GCA. Y'all have a great day and Merry Christmas soon. Bye.